easier than hitting a weight ball.
Yes.
Pretty
Okay,
challenging.
this is Monday, April 8th, 2019. This is a regular board meeting for the Village of Pulaski, held at Pulaski Village Hall, 585 East Glenbrook Drive, Pulaski, Wisconsin. Could I have a roll call and pledge, please?
Gordy Black.
Present.
Bruce Britchkuski.
Present.
Roger Britchkuski.
Present.
Robert Gajewski.
Here.
Doug Prentice.
Present.
Chris Smith.
Present.
And Reed Woodward.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented
So moved.
by Chris,
I'll second.
by Bruce, all in favor?
Aye.
I see that we have some people in the audience, and if you do wish to address the board with something specific when we're on that topic, would you raise your hand? Also, would you be doing me a favor, and if you do want to talk to the board, sign in so that we have the right names and addresses for our minutes. Number 3 is a presentation by Eagle Scout Alex Adisevich and his father John Adisevich, proposing an idea of redoing the horseshoe pits at Memorial Park. And Alex, Dad?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Adisevich. I reside at 223 Park Street in Pulaski. I belong to Boy Scout Troop 1468 in Sebesky, Wisconsin, and I'm here to ask permission from you guys to do my Eagle Scout project in Memorial Park to redo and refurbish the horseshoe pits and bring them up to NHPA standards, which is the National Horseshoe Pitching Association. And as my beneficiary, this project will provide a significant benefit to the village, and we will see it through. Funding is not required, but it is helpful to citizens of the project. So far, the total for materials is $593.17. We have not factored any other factors in besides for materials. And if we do get the okay here today, I will factor in, and we will start in June and July.
Okay. We appreciate your interest in doing the project in the Village of Pulaski. Memorial Park is by far our most valuable asset for the community. It's used heavily all summer long. So this project would be a nice addition, and we appreciate it.
Alex, how many pits do we have out there right now?
We have 4.
And you just refurbish those 4?
Well, we measured today before the meeting. The distance between the two are not to standards right now.
I knew those guys were cheating.
They're not to tournament standards, which has to be 40 feet.
Okay. Are they shorter or
Yeah,
longer?
they're both a bit about a foot short.
Okay. Is the pitch of the land going to be any issue? Is it pretty flat there?
The land in the pits is a little low, and we're walking over. It was mushy. It was wet, so
Yeah.
that could be a problem.
Could you see any residents being upset with refurbishing of these
I
pits?
cannot see anything.
Except for the cheaters, right?
I spoke about it to some of my family friends and friends of the family. They said that they remember them and their parents playing there, so it would be a nice addition.
Absolutely.
Maybe get a league starter or something if they're up there.
Thursday night.
Was there?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Skeeter and the boys.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be longer. Is it's too short now?
It's too short.
Oh, see, they're gonna be,
They're probably going to step up anyway.
Very good.
If you have any needs or anything, Joel Van Lannen will be your contact person. And anything you need, any questions, he'll answer them and get you taken care of. I understand I have to sign the document.
Yes, sir, I have it here.
Would you bring that, please?
Yeah, I think this is a great idea, and I appreciate you looking
Yeah,
at the park and
absolutely.
seeing that we needed a little help there.
Yeah, Memorial Park is, I think, is a staple of Pulaski.
Yeah, it was cool getting the Gaga pit there a few years ago from an Eagle project as well.
Okay.
I wonder if we wouldn't have a lot of those materials needed on hand already.
Yep.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
How
appreciate your
long
work.
will it take to get that done?
With the people we spoke to already, we plan to do it in a weekend.
John, are you
Wow.
handling this stuff?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Bruce.
How you doing, John? Good
How
to
you
see
doing,
you.
sir?
Yeah.
Just to talk a little bit too, that, what we're planning on doing, we already had a couple donations. We actually had to wait before we could receive the donations, so I can go back and visit those people again. We are trying to keep it in the community. That's the hard part, like with the lumber. Wish we had, Wicklash Lumber back, they would probably donate. But, majority of the bulk for the lumber is coming basically from Home Depot. So they do deal with Boy Scouts on some kind of level. So this starts it, and then we have to show proof that he's starting his Eagle project, and then submit letters to Home Depot, so.
Awesome, yeah. Good job, appreciate it.
Well, thank you for your project and good luck and congratulations on Eagle Scout. It's
Yeah.
quite a distinction.
If you got any more ideas out there, let us know.
There's a couple to go along with this one. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Somebody make a motion to accept the presentation.
I'll make that
And
motion.
approve the project by Gordy.
I'll second it.
Bruce. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 4, a resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of 1,130,000 combined utility revenue bonds of the Village of Pulaski, Wisconsin, and providing for the payment of the bonds and other details with respect to the bonds.
Yeah.
You all remember Justin.
Hi, Justin.
Hi, how's everyone doing tonight?
Great.
Good. So thank you for having me here tonight. So I'll make this fairly quick tonight. I know you have a long agenda, but feel free to stop me at any point if you have any questions. This is really just to go through the final sale results of the two borrowings that occurred today. So if you flip to the first page, this gives you the issue summary of the two different borrowings that took place. The first one was the anticipation note, which was really to fund the 2019-20 capital improvement projects and TID number 4 projects. So this amounted to $2,720,000, and this will close April 29th of 2019. So that's when you will receive the money to start paying for these projects. The maturities is going to be April 1 of 2020, so it's a one-year financing, and the interest payment will be April 1, 2020 as well. First call date will be July 29, 2019, with the intention to refinance this into longer-term debt at the end of the year. Once we pay off some additional debt, we wait for that valuation to come in at the end of about mid-August is when we anticipate the valuations to come out, and hopefully we're expecting a nice little growth. Especially when you drive around, you're seeing a lot of construction going on and so forth. So as the valuation of the community increases, your debt capacity, your borrowing capacity also increases. So it's going to be a combination of continuing to pay down debt and hopefully the valuation increases is when we're going to refinance the debt. This was non-rated and the interest rate was 2.25%, so a very, very aggressive and low interest rate that we received. I'm very pleased with that. When I was here a few months ago, I showed the board a 3%, so it results in about a $10,000 interest cost savings.
Awesome.
Yeah, so great news there. Then we did a combined utility revenue bond, so this was your water, sewer, and stormwater type projects. This is the first time that the village has done a revenue bond, so this is different than your general obligation debt. This does not count against your general obligation debt capacity, and the total borrowing amount for this ended up being $1,125,000. and your resolution says 1,130,000, but because interest is coming in much better because of the lower interest rate that we received, you don't need to fund as much of as large of a debt service reserve fund. So that's why there's a reduction of $5,000. So the closing date for this particular bond issue is April 29th of 2029 or 2019. The maturities are October 1, 2020 to 2039, so a 20-year borrowing. First interest payment will be October 1, 2019, with the first call feature, meaning you can prepay, refinance, and so forth, October 1 of 2026. We did send this out to bond insurance companies. They did evaluate it and they did submit a bid on it, which was very welcome because we didn't go through the actual bond rating process like we have on the general obligation debt. And they provided a very attractive bid, which ended up lowering the interest cost pretty substantially. So it's a cost benefit analysis that we do, and it ended up resulting in about a $20,000 benefit to the village by getting the bond insurance. The interest rate on that, 3.41%. So really great news in my opinion, because with it being a new credit, we were fairly conservative when we presented to the board. Interest rates have also come down a good amount since we last met, and so I showed you a 4.43% for the projection, to base everything off of. That's an interest cost savings, $155,000. So significant, and very pleased with it to get 20-year financing for a non-rated issue under a 3.5% for 20 years is pretty great. It's great to see for the village. So then page 3, this is your detailed analysis. I know it's small, I apologize for that, but it essentially lays out column by column the debt service related to the water, sewer, and stormwater. You layer in this bond issue, and this combined with your outstanding general obligation debt that's tied to the water, sewer, and stormwater, it shows you what the debt service will look like after this financing. So any questions for me? Great news for the village. We'll keep it going, and we'll hope that come August, September, when we get the valuations, things look as good as we anticipate, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Justin.
Thanks,
Any other
Justin.
Thank you,
questions?
Justin.
Item number 4. Approving, authorizing the issuance of the debt. A motion to proceed.
I'll make that motion.
Bob Gasky,
I'll second it.
second by Gordy Black. Any other questions or discussion by the board?
Let's have a roll call vote.
Could I have roll call vote, please?
Gordy Black,
Yes.
Bruce Birchkowski.
Yes.
Roger Birchkowski.
Yes.
Robert Gieske.
Yes.
Doug Prentice.
Abstain.
Chris Smith.
Yes.
Reed Woodward.
Yes. Motion was carried. Number 5, resolution authorizing the issuance of 2.705 general obligation promissory notes and the issuance of sale of $2,705,000 note anticipation note thereof. Resolution 1215-19. Roll call. Oh, a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Bruce,
I'll second.
Bob Gasky is the second. Roll call, please.
Gordy Black,
Yes.
Bruce Birchkowski.
Yes.
Roger Birchkowski.
Yes.
Robert Gieske.
Yes.
Doug Prentice.
Abstain again.
Chris Smith.
Yes.
And Reed Woodward.
Yes. Okay, now we go to quite a few public hearings. Number 6 is a motion to open a public hearing on special assessments for public improvements on County Highway B, Crest Drive, and Pelican Drive in the village of Pulaski and the town of Pittsfield, Wisconsin. The resolution is numbered 1216-19.
I'll make a motion
Bob Roddy.
to open.
I'll second.
Chris Smith is the second. All in favor?
Aye.
We get on.
Just a
Sure.
quick cover.
So there's, we're having one public hearing, but it's covering the work on Crest Drive, County Trunk B, and as well as Pelican. And for ease, I split because the projects are kind of different, I split them into two different engineering reports, two different assessment schedules. So I'll cover the Crest Drive, County Trunk B. That project is getting the property's sanitary sewer and water run from just west of Mountain Bay Drive to the proposed new intersection, which will be a roundabout at Pelican Drive. The assessments are being done under state statute 660703 and under the village's police powers, and are being considered as assessment/connection charges on a reasonable basis. The reason we're using assessment/connection charges is most of the properties are not in the village, and the village cannot assess properties that are outside the village, but they can establish a connection charge at the time that this is being considered. So when a property would either connect to the sewer, water, or annex to the village, that those charges would then become due. We prepared then an engineering report and assessment schedule map, and I believe all the property owners got them. They were sent out about 10 days ago, or at least 10 days ago, that required by statute, and I believe all the board members have a copy as well. The costs are based, their projected costs are based on the bid costs. Jossart was the contractor, the bidder on the project. There's several properties that were granted waivers. There's, and I'll just kind of quick cover the ones that waivers. The CBRF on the south side of the road that is in the village, there's currently all serviced off of Karch Drive. They paid, that property is completely built out, so there is no benefit of the sewer and water to that property at all. As we continue to the west then, the remainder of the properties are all in the township, and those would be connection charges. On the north side of the road, I'll call it the McKeefrey family, and there's 3 properties there. 2 are within the village. Those are getting laterals at this time as well. And then as you continue west, there's a Schmansky property, and then the church property, the Pulaski Community Church, and then they have a parcel that would be at the new intersection of Pelican and County Trunk B. There's going to be a large ditch, actually it's a navigable stream on that frontage, so we granted a waiver on that part of the property, and then they're going to have the entire length along Pelican, and their sewer and water is being covered under the Pelican assessment charges. And then the last property is the property owned by the school, and the frontage there is detention pond. So the waivers are shown on the assessment schedule. The properties that are in, and we've done quite a few of these now in rural areas, if they're under agricultural use, typically even if they would annex the property into the village, you can't put the charges against them, because again, if it's under agricultural, it's not a benefit to the property. It's only as the property would be either further developed in the future, or they would connect to the sewer and water for some reason. And then we are putting in a 10-inch sanitary and a 10-inch water main to be able to serve a larger area. So typical village policy is you've picked up the difference between incremental from a standard 8-inch sewer and water to a 10-inch. Those costs are reflected. So the assessed cost is only for a typical 8 and a sanitary 8-inch water. We did put in an inflationary factor based on the Engineering News Record Construction Index. We've been using that for the last 20 to 25 years. It seems to be the fairest methodology to put an inflationary factor. When I started my career, a lot of times they put an interest rate, and even at, I'd run some that were due 10 to 15 years later, even at like a 4 or 5% interest rate, it really becomes ungodly, the cost. So this engineering news record index it tracks construction costs, and it's a better reflection of what it's something, say, 10 years from now, so 2029, someone wants to connect what those construction costs would have been in that construction year. I did probably now about 20 properties along County Trunk Double F in Hobart. We did, the project went in 2004, and I think the last one just paid the assessments on that particular project. And again, we cross-referenced comparing what those costs with that inflationary factor look like based on how construction costs are actually coming out, and it seemed quite fair. And then the villages typically charge 2% over borrowing rate for any unpaid assessments. So there's an assessment schedule at the back of that one. It breaks it down by sanitary, water, sanitary mains, water mains, sanitary laterals, and water laterals. So I'll just quick then go into, if there's no questions from the board, and then if there's questions from anybody in the audience, I'll take those after I cover the Pelican. Pelican, we only have 2 property owners, but in addition to sanitary sewer water main, there's a street that'll be put in, as well as storm sewer to handle the street drainage. So again, done under the village's police powers, and the proposed assessments are being made on a reasonable basis. The 2 properties are the school property. Oh, and excuse me, I forgot to mention on all these, the charges will be deferred on all these and held by the village until such time either that they connect and/or properties outside of the village annex into the village. So the school is in the village, the entire frontage. At this point, the way they're set up, they have no use for the sewer water. Forever's a long time, so, if something would happen, say they decided to spin off some of that property and, or connect to the sewer and water, then the charges would become due. On the east side, that entire parcel is owned by the New Life Community Church. We've talked to them, I've met with Pastor Bob several times, and there's a possibility at some time in the future they may look at that as a residential development. We are putting laterals into that. It came up with one, and they had a layout as well of about a dozen lots, just roughly, that they can get in on that along Pelican. So at such time that they would ever develop that, then those connection charges would become due. Again, we'd have the inflationary factor and then the 2% payment on unpaid amounts over the village's property rate. So that covers, if there's any questions of the board members, and I don't know if you need to open it to the public or how that works, but I'll be able to answer any questions as well.
Board?
Nothing here.
Is there anybody that does want to have any questions that they ask to answer? With that, if there's no more discussion, I've had motion to close the public hearing.
I was waiting, I didn't know if the board was gonna ask first. I realize, the cost that we received, Joe Pollock, by the way.
Okay.
We own the one across from the New Life Church.
Okay.
That's our property there. Just had a question on the cost on that. It's listed on the frontage, total frontage of 6,142 feet. But when the calculations are done for sanitary sewer and water service, the total cost is only divided by 4,098.
That, the way I did those was, let me just grab this. Because there's, if you look at the next line, so there's a frontage and a non-assessable frontage. So in order to do these properly, so like I said, there was exemption for the church property at the frontage along County Trunk B, that they're getting assessed their entire frontage along the new Pelican Drive. And then the school, I included their entire frontage in that 6,000 of their parcels, so, but there's about 300 feet of sewer and water going along their frontage, but that's all that new detention pond, so there's not a benefit to the detention pond for sewer water. So there were properties in distances that were taken out because they were not benefited.
But is that all on Crest Drive, or?
This is entirely on Crest Drive.
Well, my deal about that is, in the future, that's gonna run for other people along Crest on the west.
Correct.
But we're getting charged for the full amount now. is
You
what I'm saying.
would, the charge is being put on your full property, just like it is on the Szymanski properties. But then if you look at the Sharon Richter Revocable Trust, it's only running about 300 feet into their, 362 feet into her property. She actually has 1,300 feet. In the future, would have costs as it gets extended.
Well, I guess all I'm asking is that, you know, the one that's not accessible, or listed as not accessible, the rest of the property owners there are picking up the cost of that, is what I understand.
The only one that, like I said, the church, you're be picking up, actually, no, the way I set this up was the village will be picking that up. And they'll be paying for
Oh, they're splitting the cost of it?
it. Yes.
But it's still only being divided by 4,098, not the 6,000. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I don't mind paying for what it cost me to put the lines in on my property area.
Right.
But now I'm picking up costs for some future areas that are gonna be benefiting.
No, this is just for this, you're not picking up for anything in the future.
Well, but we're picking up extra costs that's not on my property, I guess is what I'm saying.
No. Everyone along there is sharing, and then, like I said, when we've done these in the past, if there's any exemptions or areas that pieces of property or parcels that would not benefit from it. Like I said, so it's going along a little bit of the frontage of the CBRF, for instance. That is, that's not included here because they've already got their connection made. They paid for it along Casimir Drive.
But I guess what I'm saying is in the future, as it extends out to the west, they'll be picking up or paying for what's put in there. But that parcel that's already been